The great chamber of the Galactic Senate stretched so far that the walls disappeared into a shimmer of distance. 847 different species filled the floating platforms that circled the massive central space. Some breathed oxygen, others methane, and a few existed as pure energy contained in special fields. But today, they all wanted the same thing. Ambassador Chen Wei sat in Earth's small delegation pod and watched the speakers one by one. Her hands were steady on the armrests, but her heart pounded. She had known this was coming. Earth's intelligence network had warned her 3 weeks ago. Still, hearing it spoken aloud made it real in a way that reports never could. The Viraxian representative rose first. Its body looked like living crystal, glowing red with emotion. "The humans are too dangerous to be allowed military freedom," it said, its voice translated into every language in the chamber. "They have been part of our confederation for only 200 years. In that time, they have built weapons we have never seen. They have made quantum drives better than ours. They have turned dark matter into weapons. They have spread to 43 star systems and built military bases on all of them." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Chen watched the voting indicators. Already hundreds of lights showed green for agreement. The Kithrani senator spoke next. Her species looked like enormous serpents covered in iridescent scales. She raised her head high above her platform. "Humans do not follow the old ways. When we tell them something cannot be done, they ask why. Then they do it anyway. They do not respect the protocols that have kept peace for millions of years." More agreements. Chen counted the votes in her head. It was going exactly as Earth Command had predicted. A delegate from the Decian Collective added their voice. Humanity ended the border wars by threatening to collapse an entire star system. They stopped the Krellian horde by weaponizing a black hole's event horizon. These methods are excessive. They are brutal. They show a species that thinks only of violence. Chen wanted to stand and argue. She wanted to point out that humanity had saved billions of lives with those actions. That the border wars had dragged on for 30 years until Earth intervened. That the Krellian horde had been slaughtering colonies until humanity showed them the cost of continued aggression. But she remained seated. Earth's instructions had been clear. Let them talk. Let them vote. Then respond. The accusations continued for 2 hours. Humans were aggressive. Humans were unpredictable. Humans had made contact with the Void Dwellers, a species the Senate had quarantined for 10,000 years. Somehow, impossibly, humans had not only survived that contact but had negotiated a trade agreement. The Senate saw this as proof of humanity's dangerous disregard for safety. Finally, Supreme Arbiter Velkoth spoke. His species had founded the Senate 12 million years ago. He was old beyond human understanding, his body a collection of chitinous plates and sensor stalks that moved independently. When he spoke, everyone listened. "The charges have been presented. The evidence is clear. Humanity possesses military capabilities that threaten the stability of our confederation. As is our duty, we must act to preserve peace." His mandibles clicked together. "I call for a vote on resolution. 8847 Alpha. All species in favor of requiring humanity to surrender all military vessels, dismantle all weapons platforms, and submit to permanent Senate oversight. Indicate now." 847 lights flashed green. Not a single species voted against. Not one abstained. The silence that followed felt heavy. Chen could feel the eyes of hundreds of species on Earth's delegation pod. Some looked satisfied. Others looked almost apologetic. A few looked hungry, already calculating what a defenseless Earth might offer them. Chen stood slowly. Her legs felt weak, but her voice came out strong and clear. "Earth acknowledges the Senate's vote. We request 1 cycle to prepare our formal response. This is our right under Article 340 of the Confederation Charter." Velkoth's sensor stalks swiveled toward her. His mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement or satisfaction. "Your request is granted, Ambassador Chen. You have 30 standard days to present your compliance plan. We expect full cooperation." "You'll have our response in 30 days, Chen said. She did not say they would comply. as Earth's delegation pod descended from the chamber and moved toward the exit. Chen activated her quantum communicator. The device linked instantly to Earth Command, 40,000 light-years away. "This is Ambassador Chen to Earth Command. They voted for total disarmament. 847-0. Begin Protocol Prometheus immediately." The response came from Admiral Okonkwo, her voice calm and professional. "Confirmed, Ambassador. Protocol Prometheus is now active. Humanity's response is already underway." Now, Chen closed the channel and looked at her fellow delegates. There were 5 of them in the pod, all experienced diplomats who had spent years navigating the complex politics of the Senate. They looked shaken. "Do you think they know what's coming?" asked Ambassador Torres, Earth's military liaison. Chen shook her head. "No, they think we're a young species playing with weapons we don't fully understand. They think we'll either comply or try to fight and be crushed." "And when they learn the truth?" Torres asked. "Then we'll find out if the Senate can adapt," Chen said quietly, "or if their 12 million years of dominance have made them too rigid to survive." What comes next? The pod exited the Senate building and moved through the city-sized space station that housed the Confederation's government. Outside the windows, ships from 1,000 species moved through the void. Trade vessels, passenger liners, diplomatic cruisers, all of them trusting that the Senate's laws would keep them safe. Chen wondered how many of those laws would still exist in 31 days. She thought about what was happening back home. Admiral Okonkwo would be speaking to the United Earth Council right now. The military bases on 43 worlds would be going to alert status. Scientists who had worked in secret for decades would be preparing their final calculations. And in the asteroid belt, in the Oort cloud, in hidden facilities on hollow moons throughout human space, machines would be waking up. The Senate had made their choice. Now humanity would make theirs, and the galaxy would never be the same. 30 days passed like 30 seconds. The Galactic Senate reconvened in the same enormous chamber. The mood was different this time. Most species expected a quick formality. Humanity would present their schedule for dismantling their military. Perhaps they would negotiate to keep some defenses. Perhaps they would plead for mercy. Either way, the matter would be settled. But when Earth's delegation arrived, the Senate noticed something immediately. The humans had brought many more people. Ambassador Chen stood at the center of a group of 20. Some wore the formal clothes of diplomats. Others wore the simple outfits of scientists. And at Chen's right hand stood a tall man with gray hair and dark skin that most species had not seen in decades. Secretary General Marcus Reeves, the highest civilian authority on Earth. His presence sent whispers through the chamber. Supreme. Arbiter Velkoth, sensor stalks, focused on the human group. Ambassador Chen, we are ready to receive your compliance schedule. How long will you require to dismantle your military capabilities? Chen stepped forward. Her voice carried clearly through the translation systems. Honored members of the Senate, Earth has prepared a response to your disarmament decree. Excellent, Velkoth said. Please proceed with your timeline. There is no timeline, Secretary General Reeves said, his voice calm and firm. We are not here to comply. We are here to educate you. The chamber erupted. Species shouted in dozens of languages. Several activated defensive shields around their platforms. The Vroxian representative glowed bright red with anger. The Cathroni senator's scales stood on end. Velkoth raised several of his limbs, calling for silence. It took 5 minutes for the noise to fade. You refuse the Senate's lawful decree? We challenge the Senate's understanding of the situation, Reeves replied. You have made a serious mistake. You have confused our restraint with weakness. Chen activated a control on her wrist. The center of the chamber filled with a massive holographic display. It showed Earth's solar system in perfect detail. The sun burned at the center. Planets orbited in their regular paths. But something was wrong. The asteroid belt that should have circled between Mars and Jupiter was gone. 11 days ago, Chen said, we completed a project we began 40 years before humanity joined the Confederation. Every asteroid in our solar system has been converted. Every rock larger than 1 meter in diameter. Every piece of ice and metal. The hologram zoomed in. Where tumbling rocks should have been, there were now billions of geometric objects. Each one was covered in complex machinery. They moved with purpose, maintaining precise formations. We call them gardeners, Chen continued. Each one is an autonomous construction platform. They can build copies of themselves. They can build anything our engineers design. Each one contains quantum fabrication arrays more advanced than anything in the Confederation's databases. The Kathrani senator's voice cut through the shocked silence. You have built a self-replicating machine swarm? That is forbidden under Protocol 447C of the ancient laws. Under laws we never agreed to, Reeves said, his tone still calm. When Earth joined the Confederation, we signed the Charter. We followed the Charter's rules. But the Charter was written before the ancient laws. We came in under grandfather provisions. The same provisions you are now using to try to force our disarmament?
Asked the Varaxian.
Representative pulsed with angry light. This is a threat. You are threatening every species in this chamber. No, Chen said quietly. We are showing you why you should never have threatened us in the first place. She manipulated the controls again. The display expanded outward, past the planets, past Pluto, to the Oort cloud. This distant shell of icy objects surrounded the solar system like a vast sphere. In the hologram, the objects were glowing. Every body in Earth's Oort cloud contains approximately 2 trillion discrete objects. We have equipped all of them with quantum drives. We have equipped all of them with directed energy weapons. As of this morning, all of them are active and fully operational. The Senate fell completely silent. Chen could see the species doing the mathematics in their heads. 2 trillion weapons platforms, each capable of faster-than-light travel. It was more military force than most species possessed in their entire history. But that's not all, Reeves added. His voice was gentle, almost apologetic. Show them the gates, Ambassador. The hologram changed again. Throughout the star systems humanity controlled, massive ring structures appeared. They orbited hidden in asteroid fields, buried inside hollow moons, concealed in nebulae. 723 Einstein-Rosen bridge generators, Chen said. We have been building them for 6 decades. Each one can create stable wormholes to any point within 50,000 light-years. Each one is protected by its own fleet of gardeners. A small delegate from the Veshan Collective spoke, their voice shaking. You can strike anywhere in the galaxy within minutes, Chen corrected. And we can manufacture reinforcements faster than any combined Senate fleet could possibly destroy them. Our production capacity is exponential. Every gardener can build more gardeners. Every gate can bring in more forces. Supreme Arbiter Velkoth remained still for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his ancient voice carried a new tone. Respect, perhaps, or fear. You have created the capability to wage war against the entire Confederation simultaneously. Yes, Reeves said simply.
We have, then why have you not used this power?
Demanded the Varaxian representative. Why did you not deploy these weapons during the border wars? Or against the Krellian horde? Because we didn't need to, Reeves replied. And more importantly, because we understand something you have forgotten in your 12 million years of enforced peace. Making sure every species was listening. We understand the difference between capacity and intent. The Senate chamber remained silent, but it was not a peaceful silence. It was the silence of prey animals watching a predator, trying to decide whether to run or fight or freeze. Secretary General Reeves stepped closer to the holographic display. With a gesture, he changed the image. Now it showed Earth's history. Cities rising and falling. Armies marching. Mushroom clouds blooming. My species has a violent history, Reeves said. We do not hide from this fact. We have fought thousands of wars. We have built weapons capable of destroying our own planet many times over. We have come close to extinction through our own actions at least 6 times in our recorded history. The holographic display showed scenes from Earth's past. Nuclear missiles in silos. Biological weapons in laboratories. artificial intelligences contained behind multiple layers of security. When we developed atomic weapons, we gained the power to make Earth uninhabitable. Reeves continued. We almost used them. There were moments during our Cold War when one person's decision was all that stood between humanity and total nuclear annihilation. The display showed a man sitting at a control console. The scene was from Earth's 20th century. Alarms were flashing. The man's hand hovered over a button that would launch missiles. This is Stanislav Petrov, Reeves said. A lieutenant colonel in the Soviet Union's military. His early warning system told him that missiles were coming. His orders were clear. If attacked, launch everything. 5 times the alarm went off. 5 times he chose to believe it was an error. He was right. The system was malfunctioning. If he had followed his orders, human civilization would have ended that day. Ambassador Chen took over the presentation. When we developed biological weapons that could extinct our entire species, we wrote treaties. We destroyed our stockpiles. When we created artificial superintelligence that could outthink any human, we built safeguards instead of armies of autonomous war machines. The Varaxian representative's glow had faded from angry red to uncertain orange. You are saying you have always possessed the capacity for ultimate destruction. Not always, Reeves admitted. But for the last century? Yes. We have chosen not to deploy it because we learned something at terrible cost. We learned that the greatest weapon is the one you never have to use. An elderly delegate from the Decian Collective spoke up. Their species was known throughout the galaxy for philosophical wisdom. Then why reveal your capabilities now? Why risk uniting the entire Senate against you? Because you gave us no choice, Chen said. Her voice carried frustration now, the first emotion she had shown. You tried to force us into helplessness. And humanity learned a long time ago that predators can smell weakness. If we had complied, if we had dismantled our defenses, how long would it have been before one of you decided that a defenseless Earth was too tempting to resist? She gestured to the holographic display. It now showed statistics, numbers that made several species shift uncomfortably in their platforms. 73 species in the last million years have been forcibly disarmed by this Senate. You told them it was for the greater good, for peace, for stability. Chen's voice hardened. Would anyone like to guess how many of those 73 species still exist as independent civilizations? No one answered. The silence spoke volumes. 12. Chen provided the answer. Only 12 still exist. And all 12 are now client states. Their homeworlds are strip-mined. Their people are scattered across the galaxy as cheap labor. Their cultures are memories. Supreme Arbiter Valkath, S. mandibles clicked rapidly. You accuse this Senate of genocide? I accuse this Senate of cowardice, disguised as peacekeeping, Reeves said. The accusation was blunt, shocking in its directness. Several species gasped. You do not maintain order through justice? You maintain it by ensuring that no one can ever challenge your authority. You keep every species weak enough to control. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes or sensors or awareness of as many delegates as possible, while humanity can challenge you. We have built weapons you cannot match. We have capabilities you cannot counter. And that terrifies you. But let me tell you why you should actually be grateful. The statement was so unexpected that even Velkoth seemed caught off guard. Grateful? Yes, Reeves said. Because we could have done this in secret. We could have built our capabilities in hidden systems, far from your oversight. We could have revealed them only when we wanted to make demands. When we wanted to take what we wanted by force. Chen nodded. Instead, we joined your confederation legally. We followed your charter. We traded with you, shared culture with you, built relationships with you. And now, when you tried to disarm us, we showed you our capabilities openly. Because we want you to understand, Reeves said. We are not your enemies. But we will never be your victims either. Yes. The Cathroni senator's voice was quieter now, less hostile. What do you want from us? We want what every species should want, Reeves replied. Safety, dignity, the right to exist without fear, and we are willing to guarantee those same things for everyone else. He looked at Velkoth directly. The Senate tried to disarm humanity because you feared what we might do with our power. We have shown you that power. Now we will show you what we intend to do with it. And what is that? Velkoth asked. Change everything, Chen said simply. Not through conquest. Not through threats. But by offering every species in this chamber something the Senate never has. Which is a real choice, Reeves said. About what kind of galaxy we all want to live in. For 3 hours, the Galactic Senate debated humanity's revelation behind closed sessions. Ambassador Chen and Secretary General Reeves waited in a diplomatic holding area with transparent walls that let them watch ships moving through the space. Around the Senate station, do you think they'll attack? Asked Torres, the military liaison. Some want to, Chen replied. But the smart ones are doing the math. We distributed our gardener swarms across 2 trillion locations. There's no central facility to destroy. No kill, switch to activate. Even if every species in the Confederation combined their fleets. It would take centuries to hunt down all our platforms. And by then, we'd have built millions more, Torres said with grim satisfaction. Reeves stared out at the stars. I hope they choose wisely. I really do. But if they don't, we'll survive. That's what humanity does. Finally, the Senate recalled them to the chamber. The mood had shifted. Fear remained in the air like a physical presence. But something else had joined it. Calculation. Some species had moved beyond panic to cold strategic thinking. Supreme Arbiter Velkoth addressed the assembly. Humanity has demonstrated capabilities that exceed our projections. They have also demonstrated restraint that surprises us. This leaves the Senate in an unprecedented position. Paused, his ancient sensor stalk sweeping across the gathered delegates. We could expel Earth from the Confederation. We could declare humanity an enemy of galactic peace. You could try, Chen said quietly. But expelling us doesn't remove our capabilities. It just removes any reason we have left to show restraint. We are aware, Velkoth said. The admission seemed to pain him, which brings us to a question. What do you want from us, humanity? You have revealed ultimate power. You have rejected our authority. What is your purpose? Secretary General Reeves stepped forward. His expression was serious, almost sad. We want to propose a new way. Not the forced disarmament you demanded. Not the hierarchy of fear you've maintained for 12 million years. Something different. Something better. He nodded to Chen, who activated the holographic display once more. This time it showed detailed technical specifications. Blueprints. Mathematical formulas. Manufacturing processes. This is the complete technical specification for our Gardner platforms, Chen said. Our Einstein-Rosen bridge generators. Our distributed defense networks. Our quantum fabrication systems. Everything. She took a breath. We are sharing it freely with every species in this chamber. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Dozens of species tried to speak at once. The Thessian delegate's voice cut through the chaos. You're giving us your weapons. We're giving you the knowledge to build your own, Reeves clarified. Because we have learned something that you have forgotten. Security doesn't come from being the only one with a gun. Security comes from everyone knowing that aggression will be met with overwhelming response from everyone else. Chen pulled up historical records from Earth. We call it mutually assured destruction. It's an ugly doctrine. We developed it during our Cold War, when 2 superpowers pointed enough nuclear weapons at each other to destroy our planet several times over. That sounds like madness, said the Kathrani senator. It was madness, Reeves agreed. But it was madness that kept us alive. For over 2 centuries, that balance of terror prevented total war. Not because everyone suddenly became peaceful, but because everyone understood that starting a war would mean their own destruction. You want to make the entire galaxy a balance of terror? The Varaxian representative's glow had returned to red. We want to ensure that no single species, including humanity, ever has the power to threaten another without facing certain retaliation, Reeves explained. The Senate maintains peace by keeping everyone weak. We propose peace through distributed strength. equal strength. A new voice entered the debate. Ambassador Thorix of the Draxian Union rose from his platform. His species was one of the few that could match humanity's military prowess. This is insanity. You would arm potential enemies with the tools to destroy you? They already have those tools, Chen pointed out. Any species with quantum fabrication technology and enough time could develop what we've built. We just did it faster because we weren't constrained by the Senate's outdated regulations. By sharing the technology now, openly, we remove the incentive for secret arms races. We remove the advantage of secrecy, Reeves added. If everyone knows everyone else's capabilities, surprise attacks become pointless. If everyone can retaliate with equal force, aggression becomes suicide. The Kathrani senator's scales had smoothed the sign of deep thought. And if we refuse your offer? If we reject this distributed defense network, then nothing changes, Reeves said simply. We keep our capabilities. You keep passing resolutions against us that we ignore. And every species in the galaxy lies awake at night wondering when humanity might decide to actually use what we've built. Is that really the future you want? Or, Chen said, you accept our offer? Every species gets the same defensive capabilities. Every species knows that attacking any other means facing not just their target's response, but the response of dozens or hundreds of allied species. It's still mutually assured destruction, the Veshan delegate said. Yes, Reeves admitted, but it's mutual. It's assured. And most importantly, it's honest. No more pretending that the Senate protects the weak. No more pretending that forced disarmament is for anyone's good except those enforcing it. Supreme Arbiter Velkoth was silent for a long moment. You are asking us to fundamentally restructure 12 million years of galactic governance. We're asking you to evolve, Chen said, or become irrelevant. The vote took 7 days. During that time, over 300 species requested private meetings with Earth's delegation. The small diplomatic offices assigned to humanity worked around the clock. Scientists explained technical specifications. Military advisors discussed defensive strategies. Diplomats negotiated the terms of what was being called the Distributed Defense Initiative. Some meetings were hostile. A few species threatened war despite the obvious futility, but most were cautious, curious, calculating. They wanted to understand what humanity was really offering and what it would cost them, Ambassador. Chen met with dozens of delegates personally. She quickly learned to recognize the patterns. Younger species, those who had joined the Confederation in the last million years, were more open to change. They remembered being vulnerable. They understood the appeal of real defensive capabilities instead of Senate promises the ancient species. Those who had been part of the power structure for eons resisted. They saw the initiative as a threat to their authority. Which, Chen admitted to herself, it absolutely was. On the 7th day, the Galactic Senate reconvened. The atmosphere was tense but different from before. Fear remained, but it was mixed with something else now. Anticipation, possibility. Some species saw opportunity in what humanity offered. Supreme Arbiter Velkoth called the session to order. His ancient voice carried a weight of significance that made everyone pay attention. In 12 million years, this Senate has never faced a situation like this. Humanity has demonstrated capabilities that exceed our predictions. More surprisingly, they have shown restraint that contradicts our fears. They paused. His sensor stalks, moving slowly across the chamber. Resolution 8847 Alpha. The forced disarmament of humanity is hereby withdrawn. A murmur ran through the assembled species. In its place, we vote on Resolution 8848 Beta. The establishment of the Distributed Defense Initiative. Based on humanity's proposal for technological transparency and mutual deterrence, the voting began. Chen watched the indicators counting in her head. The numbers climbed slowly. 500 species voted in favor, then 510. The opposition held at around 200, species who feared change more than they feared humanity. When the final count appeared, Chen felt her tension release. 512 in favor, 203 against, 132 abstentions. It passed. Velkoth continued speaking. Furthermore, in recognition of their contribution to galactic security and their demonstrated capability for strategic thinking, Earth's delegation status is hereby elevated. Humanity will join the Inner Council with full voting rights on all matters of galactic security. That provoked another wave of reaction, but Chen barely heard it. Earth had a seat at the most powerful table in the galaxy, not through conquest, not through threats, through showing the Senate that they had no choice but to treat humanity as equals. As the session adjourned, Ambassador Thorax of the Draxian Union approached the human delegation. His species looked somewhat like upright crocodiles, all scales and teeth. A bold strategy, Secretary General Thorax said. "Tell me truthfully, did you really build all those weapon systems? Or was some of it exaggeration? Holographic tricks to make us fear you?" Reeves smiled slightly. "Does it matter, Ambassador? The galaxy believes we did. And belief is its own kind of power." Thorax's facial plates shifted in what might have been his species' version of a smile. "Your people are either brilliantly cunning or completely insane. Why can't we be both?" Chen asked. After Thorax left, Chen activated a secure quantum channel to Earth Command. Admiral Okonkwo's face appeared in her communicator. 40,000 light-years away, but present as if she stood in the same room. "Admiral, the vote passed. Begin Phase 2 of Prometheus. Start the technology transfers as agreed." "Confirmed, Ambassador," Okonkwo replied. Then she added, "And, for the record, we really did build all those systems. Every Gardner platform, every gate, every weapon. All of it is real." Chen closed the channel and allowed herself a rare moment of satisfaction. The Senate had tried to disarm humanity, to render them helpless. Instead, they had forced humans to reveal capabilities that changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever. On Earth, in a bunker deep beneath Geneva, Admiral Okonkwo studied her tactical displays. The Gardner swarms were real. The Einstein-Rosen bridges were operational. The distributed defense network was exactly as Chen had described it. But there was one system that Secretary General Reeves had not mentioned to the Senate. One capability kept in reserve, just in case: the Prometheus Array, a network of quantum-entangled observation posts that had been watching the entire galaxy for 40 years. Humanity had cataloged every species' military capabilities. They had mapped every weakness. They had identified every potential threat. They had prepared for a war they desperately hoped would never come, because that was the truth about humanity that the Senate still didn't fully understand. Humans prepared for the worst while working for the best. They built weapons of terrible power while genuinely hoping never to use them. They planned for war while pursuing peace. And if the galaxy ever forgot that humanity's restraint was a choice, rather than a limitation, the Prometheus Array would ensure they remembered quickly. 3 months later, the first non-human species successfully constructed their own Gardner platforms using humanity's shared specifications. The Decian Collective demonstrated their version to the Senate, proving that the technology worked as advertised. Within a year, 50 species had active defensive networks. Within 5 years, 200 species had them. The balance of power in the galaxy shifted from a pyramid with ancient species at the top to web with power distributed among hundreds of civilizations. The Senate's 12-million-year reign of enforced weakness had ended, not through rebellion, not through war, but through humanity offering every species the same choice they had made themselves. The choice to be strong enough that no one would dare attack them and humanity. The youngest species in the Confederation had rewritten the rules of galactic civilization without firing a single shot. Supreme Arbiter Velkoth, in his private chambers, reviewed the events with something approaching admiration. The humans had been correct about one thing. They were dangerous. But not for the reasons the Senate had initially feared. They were dangerous because they understood a truth. The galaxy had forgotten over 12 million years of enforced stability. Real peace doesn't come from keeping everyone weak. It comes from the mutual certainty that war would destroy all parties equally. From the knowledge that no one could win, so no one should start. It was a terrifying revelation. It turned the galaxy into a place where hundreds of species possessed ultimate weapons. And yet, paradoxically, it might be the safest arrangement in galactic history. The old order was dead. A new one was being born, and humanity, barely 200 years removed from their first contact with alien life, had become the architects of that new order. Not bad for a species the Senate had tried to disarm.